So welcome back to the allotment. This is my first video in a while. Things got a little bit hectic towards the end of last year for me. I run a couple of businesses and I decided to put all my focused effort and concentration on one of my businesses that I really wanted to grow. My kids were homeschooled at the time and I sent them back to school to try and focus on this business. And anyway, I decided that I don't want to focus on the business, that being with my kids is more important. So while I was doing all that, everything got a bit out of control at the allotment because I wasn't putting my time and attention here. And you know how easily things go wrong in the summer when it's hot, there's weeds everywhere, everything's going to seed, and I couldn't control it anymore because I was focusing my attention elsewhere. So it all went wrong. But this is a new year. I've now got time to place all of my attention here to be able to make sure that I am recording my progress all the time. My kids are off school again now. We're back to home educating, which is just how we work best, to be honest. No one was happy when they went back to school, so we are home educating again now, which is great. So yeah, the kids are probably going to end up being in quite a few videos, so that's just something we'll just have to deal with as we go along. So I thought for my first video in a while, we could have a look round. My winter allotment isn't how I thought it was going to be. I wanted a lot more to be growing over winter. And I was doing quite well until the big freeze in December. And it all just went wrong because everything died, basically. Everything, all of my veg that I was saving for Christmas, it was just too much. I'm in the north of England. It was really, really cold, about -7. So all the stuff I had outside all turned to mush. Everything died. So I'll give you a quick tour around. We can have a little look at what I've got left at the moment, what's still here, what's still standing. And I've also made some changes in the polytunnel, so we can go in and have a look at that, and hopefully that's going to help me out a lot this year too. So let's go and have a look around. So this here that's under a blanket of snow at the moment is my kale. This end here, I've got a couple of cabbages. There was a few more, but they died. But these ones seem to have survived. They've got a bit of frostburn around some of the edges and some of the lower leaves. But actually, they're all right for just taking leaves off. So I've been using them just as I need them. And then in between that, there's lots of kale. So I've got kale. Not much of it left, but I'm hoping as the weather gets warmer, it's going to spring back into life again. And then under here, there are some Chinese cabbages just under there, but they're only very little. They never really got a chance to grow super big. So that's all we've got going on here. And then if I just turn you around, I'll show you the other beds. This was the red cabbage over here. I still do have a couple of red cabbage. There's one just there, but mostly they just turn to mush really, so I just need to compost them. The bed across here, let's go over and have a look. So underneath here are what's left of my Swedes. So I've got quite a few. You can see there's quite a few still left here. I've just been picking them as and when I need them. They survived really well in that December frost. They were absolutely fine. Even the leaves, you know, they look absolutely fine. But next to them here, under here is my beetroot, and that really didn't survive. There's some still under there, but they're not in great condition really. And then over there is the strawberry beds. That's all right. That's cleared down now. I've cleared most of it, so that's ready for the new season. And then I've got a bed which is just over here that we'll go and have a look at. This is my kale. It's all a bit weighed down at the minute. I need to just shake that snow off over there. It's squashing my kale down a bit. But this kale has done really, really well, to the point where I think next winter I'm going to focus and concentrate on having a good kale supply going. So that's the kale's looking really good. And then behind it is my pawpaw sprouts. They're growing, they're doing all right. You know, I thought I wasn't going to get any sprouts at all. I mean, you saw in one of my videos about how many caterpillars were in there, and they ate most of them. But actually the sprouts are fine. A lot of sprouts came out. I've had a good harvest off them, so that's good. And then just turn around, don't want to spin you too fast. In here There was some radish along the end there, but they died in the frost. And these were those, I don't know what they're called. They were a purple cauliflower, but the one that's quite spiky looking, I can't remember what it's called. But these, they were all and they were doing so well, and I was saving them, and I was really hoping I was going to get some for Christmas dinner. They were growing really nice, and then that frost happened and they all just died. They froze, and then as soon as they defrosted, they just turned to mush. And that's how they are at the moment. And then the only other thing is this bed here. This was where I had lots of kale in. The kale's still there, you can still see a bit of kale. And then chard, and all of this woody stuff here, this was all in between it all, it was all chard, and that was really healthy, but that died in the big freeze as well. So I lost all my chard, which was a shame, because I was hoping it was going to go to seed and I'd be able to save some seed from it. So that's all I've got in these outside beds at the moment, but I'll take you in the polytunnel and we'll have a quick look at what I've done in there. So, you know, last year I had just lots of pallets down here. I've changed it all now with a bit of help from my dad. I've built 4 raised beds in here, right the way along this back here, and I've also kept my sandpit last year because I'm overwintering some mullein in it, and some strawberry plants. So I'll show you a bit of a close-up. I've got a few things in it, but to be honest, I've had to replant them. You know, it's the same old problem in this polytunnel. First of all, I planted a load of seedlings in and the rats ate them. Even though they're all netted, oh no, they're smart. They dug right in and ate everything in there. So me and the rats just, I think we're just never going to resolve this battle. So yeah, that was a bit of a disaster. So there's a few people been helping now to try and control the rats a little bit round here. I replanted everything early on this month after the big December freeze, because I lost a lot of my Chinese cabbages in that freeze. A lot of them died even inside here because it was just so cold for so long. I had the same problem when they defrosted, they just turned to mush. So I think I've got one in the bed here behind me, and then I'd had some young lettuces and kale that I had just up on the side here in, you know, just like little starter trays. So I thought, well, I'll just throw them in. So I put them in the beds now. One of them lot's been eaten. There's a rat come up again and ate all the stuff in there, but the other 3 beds seem to be doing all right at the moment. So I'll just show you them quickly, and then we'll head down and look at the main bit of the allotment. So these are the beds that we built, mostly just from bits of stuff we had knocking around. This is my one remaining Chinese cabbage in there. And then along here I've got my mullein that's looking really nice over wintering actually. It's quite happy, and I'm hoping that a big shoot's going to come up from that in the spring, and it's going to give me lots of seeds, big flower and lots of seeds hopefully. And there's some strawberries there, and I planted in some eyebright seeds in there for tinctures yesterday, so that needs to sit in the cold weather for a little bit before they sprout. So hopefully I wasn't too late with that. I got a few leeks in over there. And then this is the bed that they dug up into. You can see it, but you can see the hole there right in the middle of the bed. The little buggers. So that's the rat eating bed. And then just along here, I've got another one. Oh, I lied actually. There's one more Chinese cabbage there. That's been slug eaten, I think, or woodlouse eaten. And then under here I've got, and if you can see through there, I've got lots of kale and some little 4-season lettuces, and I got some other red lettuces over there. So what I'm hoping is, as soon as February comes and it gets a lot, the days get longer, I'm hoping these are all going to shoot up and they're all going to grow. I got some little kalettes there as well, and this bed's going to thrive hopefully, and it'll be really great. And then again over here, I think these are little gems, I'm not 100%. They're just some baby seedlings that were just up on the side that I thought, well, I'll put them in. But this bed was the first bed to be eaten when I first did it, so I don't hold out much hope of them actually surviving, but they have so far. So yeah, that's that bed as well. So yeah, I didn't do too bad, and I'm hoping if I can manage to get this rat problem a bit under control, that these will be really great for growing my tomatoes in this year, and I should be able to get quite a few tomatoes in one bed there together. Fingers crossed anyway. Let's go down and have a quick look at the other allotment. So there's no point really showing you around this allotment. It's basically all just empty beds. all the way down. I did have some kale in one of the beds, but the chickens broke in one day towards the end of last year and ate most of it. So it's just empty beds at the minute. I'm waiting for something to be done with them. To be honest, I think this year, because of the chickens on this allotment, I'm probably going to grow a lot of potatoes down this end and concentrate my veg efforts up on the other allotment. The only bed that I did have stuff in was this one here behind me. I had calendula going in that bed right up until the big freeze in December, when everything froze, and that's when I lost my calendula. But I was harvesting calendula right up into towards the end of December, which was really, really good. So I'm hoping that I can do that again this year, because it's been so helpful for drying, and I've got loads of it at home in jars to use for, you know, creams and things like that, because it's such a nice makes such a nice oil. So that's one thing that I did really, really well. But yeah, everything's just empty at the minute and just waiting for me to start putting things in as soon as it warms up a little bit. These are my 2 compost bins here. This one was really full and I had it piled right up at the end of summer, and it's just left it and it's all compacted right down, which is really, really good. So I'm starting to use this one now. And then this one over here, where the chickens are really helpfully scratching it around for me, that's the one that I'm working on at the moment. And I have loved doing this last year, and I think that's something I'm going to focus on a lot more, is growing my own compost. I'm starting to try and have some seedlings going in this as well now and see how they do, because it just makes more sense to have my own. I'm obviously going to use it on my beds, but yeah, I spent a lot last year buying a lot of compost, and that's one of the things I want to cut down on this year. So it definitely makes more sense to try and make as much of it as I can. So that's it for today. Not much really going on anyway around here at the allotment. It's all been it's all just covered in snow at the moment, but I've got a lot of hope for next season. Hopefully we're going to really focus on growing as much as possible for a longer period as possible. I'm going to be starting getting some seeds in soon to start getting these spring crops going. So yeah, that's where we're up to at the moment. So I will see you soon. Bye bye.